Hello, everyone. Welcome to another Flesh and Blood video. I never thought we'd be taking a look at this deck again, but Katsu, we're going to take a look at Katsu again, but Katsu is here with the newly unbanned Bonds of Ancestry Red. I'm not going to make a video on the ban list because a ton of other content creators have already done so. I think all the bans were pretty good. There are two cards I would have liked to see banned. One being Three of a Kind, because I think it could cause problems with some of the new Ranger cards, mainly those new shoes, because you can just end on whatever you want now off your Three of a Kind hand, so you have another large turn after your Three of a Kind. But hopefully they made the set in a way that it doesn't make Three of a Kind the best card in the game again. And also, this card, Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. I know we just got a ninja card back, and I'm grateful for that. But this card is broken upon belief. This card should not be in the game. Just gonna say it. I think this card should be banned. But while it's here, we have Katsu the Wanderer with his brand new edition of Bonds of Ancestry Red. Finally, do we have a time where Katsu is not losing cards whenever a new set releases? He's actually gaining some cards. So, with all that, let's get started. Katsu the Wanderer, 4 intellect, 40 health. As we all know, the first time an attack action card you control hits each turn, you may discard a card with cost 0. If you do, search your deck for a card with combo, banish it, you may play it this turn. Pretty much, he gets to toolbox your whole deck. You get to turn any 0 cost card into a combo card. Bonds of Ancestry, originally designed for Katsu, and then Zen came out and then got it banned. But now that Zen's gone, we can play with it, at least for a little while, because they said it might get banned again. Oh well. They honestly could just reprint it as a Katsu spec, and I don't think anyone would complain, and then just ban this. For the equipment, this is a very aggressive deck for the main board, at least. So we're playing Mask of the Pouncing Lynx. Mask of Momentum is in the sideboard because, as we know now, with the 0 to 1 possible ninja cards we're getting in High Seas expansion slot, we're not going to have anything in High Seas to really update the deck with, unless it's like a blue generic that we want to play, which we're probably not playing because we're on Ancestral Harmony and we want to maximize the amount of combo cards in our deck. But for this list, Mask of the Pouncing Lynx is just the card. It lets us search your deck for any attack of base power 2 or less on any attack action hit, which is just incredibly powerful. It's mainly going to be used to get cards like Dishonor or Retrace the Past out of your deck, the main two blues that just let us go extremely wide in Retrace the Past, or have an insanely powerful on-hit in Dishonor. I suppose you could also search for something like Winds of Eternity if you need to, or our one of Yellow Descendant Gust Wave, but you're mainly going to be using it to grab Dishonor or Retrace or the Tenacities that are in our sideboard for when we bring those in. For our chest piece, we have the Heart and Cross Strap, because normally we want to play very wide turns. We do have some costed cards in the deck, like the Be Like Water on hit, Descendant if we need to start with it, the Spinning Wheel Kick. Mainly it's going to be used though on a turn where we can go incredibly wide, not have to pay any resource, and just want to play a Surging Strike, because Surging Strike costs 2, and that's like the actual bad part about the card, is that it costs 2. Our glove is Breaking Scales because it's just like an absolutely insane card. This card being in play means our opponent always has to overblock our combo cards, because if they don't, we just get the on hit for free. And then we're on Breeze Rider Boots just so we can have one block in our, well, the second block in our equipment, because Breaking Scales block for our snags in our sideboard for our assassin matchups. And because if we get off a Mugenshi combo early and where it's not a matchup, we need to actually use the effect of Lord of Wind, Breeze Rider Boots turns into 3 Lord of Wind attacks, especially if we're on an Ancestral Harmony turn. That's 3 threes, which is incredibly powerful. For the weapons, we're just on 2 Harmonized Kadachi. Edge of Autumn might be a playable weapon once the Ira Armory deck comes out. We need to see. I don't think you're going to do that in Katsu, though. But for now, it's just going to be Harmonized Kadachi with really no downside at all, since every blue in the deck is a 0 cost card. That's all for the equipment. Let's take a look at the main board, starting with the combo lines, the bread and butter. Katsu gets to play all of the combo lines he wants, mainly because of Retrace the Past, but because Katsu himself just has, I would argue, the strongest combo line, we're playing all of it. 6 copies of Surging Strike, 3 red, 3 yellow. You don't want blue because it's only 3 power, and it doesn't cost 0 for Arkidachi pitches. Be Like Water because it can turn into Surging Strike for just 1 resource. Doesn't have combo itself, but that's okay. We're still playing Ancestral Empowerment to be able to pump it over. If our opponent's a deck that doesn't want to block, this will pretty much always be a Surging Strike, and this being a 1-cost Surging Strike is really powerful. For our Gust Waves, 3 red and 3 blue Whelming Gust Wave. These both block 3. You want the reds because this is the most powerful tutor in your deck off Katsu, off of just like a small combo chain, as red Surging Strike into red Whelming Gust Wave off of a blue pitch is just incredibly powerful. Threatening 9 and a card draw. And then we're playing blue because blue is playable, but also it's a block 3 0 cost blue that pitches for Arkidachi as well. We're playing 3 red Descendant Gust Waves and 1 yellow Descendant Gust Waves. The 3 red are just because they're the most powerful. The 1 yellow is here just because it can be a starter to go into Bonds of Ancestry if we don't have any other starter in our hand and we have to start with a Gust Wave. And then we're on 2 Gust Wave with a Second Wind. I think this card is still bad, but it is still a 0 for 4. It's worse than the Whelming Gust Wave. It's worse than a Descendant Gust Wave. It is the worst Gust Wave in the deck, but it being a 0 for 4 is pretty nice in some situations, and it does have combo. Our after Gust Wave cards are going to be 3 copies of Bonds of Ancestry, as it's a tutor for our whole deck, pretty much. 2 copies of Mugenshi Release. We do have the 3rd in the sideboard for our late game matchups, but 2 in the main board helps us get our Lord of Wind lines in play to actually use our Bruiser Boots, because that's pretty much all you're really using it for. And 3 copies of Retrace the Past, as it can become any card name if we have a Gust Wave as our last attack, meaning it can become a 100 Winds for 100 Wind lines, a Twin Twisters or Spinning Wheel Kick for our Spinning Wheels. It can become another Gust Wave itself for our Gust Wave of this, it can become a Gust Wave itself for more copies of itself, Bonds, Mugenshi, or it can even become a Surging Strike, so we can go into another one of those Gust Waves, either the Second Wind or the Whelming Gust Wave. Very, very powerful. And also it lets you go into your Dishonor lines, which is why the card was originally printed, because Bonds of Ancestry was the one card that was banned, so you couldn't go for Dishonor lines, and now you can. Our true chain enders, the things we're going to be ending our chains with, are of course Dishonor. 0 for 4 if it's off of a Bonds of Ancestry or off of a Retrace the Past, because that's why this card was designed. And if you have a Surging Strike, a Descending Gust Wave, and a Bonds of Ancestry on the combat chain, if you hit a hero, they lose all of their abilities. Such a powerful ability. The true Katsu win con is dishonoring the opponent and then kind of just locking them out of the game. Of course, Dishonor, blue, block 3, cost 0, really good. If you can get this off, it's very powerful. And then Lord of Wind, as we are a Katsu deck, why not play 3 Lord of Winds? Because it's very good with the Mugenshi and the Breeze Rider boots. The rest of our lines in the deck are just pretty simple lines we see in Katsu decks. He can't fit in any other big combo line because so much of the deck has to go to his staple Surging Strike line. So we're playing 3 red and 2 blue 100 Winds alongside 2 blue Winds of Eternity. These are just a very good cheap aggressive combo line that work well with Ancestral Harmony. Whenever we play against Assassin, we will be cutting the blue 100 Winds to go up the 2 snags. Yes, technically our opponent can still kind of combo us if they banish blue Whelmings, give it go again, into Retrace, into whatever. But I'd rather them set up that than just go 100 Winds, Winds of Eternity off a new ability and we cry. But also 100 Winds does not do the most damage versus Assassin. So I'd rather just play the snags over these anyway into the other ones, rounding off the deck to be a nice 19 blues, which is pretty good considering we are playing Spinning Wheel Kick, which is a 1-cost card, and we generally want to be swinging Kodachis still just for some chip damage with their extra resource. We don't really mind. And then the last combo card in the deck is 3 copies of Spinning Wheel Kick just because it's a 1 for 4 go. Again, it's just a good card, good off of Ancestral Harmony. It's a good card to play on your turns. It's a breakpoint that can trigger Katsu as well. The rest of the deck, the only 2 other cards in the main board, our 51 card main board, are 3 copies of Ancestral Empowerment because our whole deck is a ninja attack, our whole main board. This can push everything over. It can be a discard to Katsu. It can draw us into whatever we want. This is just a very powerful card inside the deck. Is another effect that makes our opponent perfect blocking our attacks, not the best. And then 3 copies of Ancestral Harmony because if we hit a combo card, most of our deck is combo cards. We just draw a free card and pump our whole turn. It sucks when we don't hit. Same in Zen. It sucks when you don't hit. But if you don't hit, it's still a pump for the rest of the turn. It's still not bad. You can probably still go off. You want to hopefully have these on your turn, your Breaking Heart and Cross Strap because you get a full free pump on everything you do. And you're going to be playing like probably 8 attacks that turn. That's probably also the turn you're using your Pouncing Links. Just go off super wide and do a ton of damage. Ancestral Harmony, insanely powerful card inside of these combo ninjas. That's it for the main board. Honestly, it's pretty core for Katsu. I've seen people play more Gust Wave the Second Wind. I've seen people play more Descendant Gust Wave. I think these are the numbers that work the best, especially because we do have Retrace the Past. That is just like another after Gust Wave card, so it's kind of like we do have those 6 bonds. We have realistically 13 starters in the 4 Gust Waves, 6 Surgings, and 3 Be Like Waters, but of course we can even start with like Spinning Wheel into 100 Winds to find whatever, and then if we hit, since we hit, we can Breeze Rider Boots into another line if we really need to. Katsu's about finding the line, and I think this type of list just easily finds the line so well. For our inventory, let's start by taking a look at the equipment. We are playing 2 Arcane Barrier in Tide Flippers and Arcane Lantern versus our Runeblade matchups, which are honestly very little right now. I mean, Florian just got hit on the ban list as well, but you'll probably still see some Florian. You're going to want to opt for the Tide Flippers because Arcane Lantern isn't the best since you're going down to Kodachi. But in just something like Kano, just play both because 2 AB is a lot stronger than 1, and you're probably not swinging Kodachi against Kano. You're just looking to rip whatever early super strong combo you can and just go off. Mask of Momentum is here not because it's currently the best thing. There are some matchups I would play it in this format, but this is mainly for next format, which we're going to have in like 2 weeks, where Mask of Momentum into Gravy Bones is just going to win you the game. Ninja into Ally Illusionist, so just Dromai, has always been just like a free matchup. Yes, Dromai had the answer in the one of the legendary dragons, Tomotai, because Tomotai could destroy your Mask of Momentum, but they would need to find it very early. And even then, you still easily clear the dragons by pitching a blue, swinging a card. The main reason why Mask was strong was because you could pitch a blue, do double Kodachi, and then play a go again attack into a dragon that would draw off your Mask and trigger your Katsu. Similar to how I think Cintra is going to just decimate Gravy Bones, because if he plays an ally, that's just a free Mask draw. Mask of Momentum and Katsu does the exact same thing versus that ally-based matchup in Gravy Bones. So we are playing Mask of Momentum for that, but there are other matchups I would want to play the Mask of Momentum. Any matchup that's just like straight aggro, like they are not blocking you, you probably want to opt for Mask of Momentum because you can get repeatable value. Any deck that's like sometimes blocking you that can easily block out the Mask of Momentum, any deck that's going to bring in a lot of these D-reacts, you're still just going to want to opt for the Pouncing Links because on that one turn they don't block, you can just super combo them. But since they're a deck that will block a fair amount, Mask of Momentum isn't going to be the best because you're not going to get it every turn. Tunic is for your really long games. These are going to be for like your Guardian matchup, your new matchup. Any game that's going to go extremely late, you're going to bring in the Final Spring Tunic. For the rest of the sideboard, we just have a bunch of cards. We are a add board of 9, which means this whole top row is going to be cards we add in. I already said the snags. Whenever you play against Assassin, you should bring in snag because they are all reaction based. You're going to bring those in over the 2 blue 100 wins. But the rest of the sideboard is honestly pretty standard for a Katsu list. We are playing 6 Diriacs. This list I'm opting for the 3 Flick Flack and 3 Wax On. Flick Flack is really good because it lets you block out 2 different chain links, which is really, really powerful in this format, as a lot of the decks you want to bring in Flick Flack do go 2 attacks wide, so you can flick the first attack and then block with a combo card if need be on the second one for 5, because a lot of your combo cards block for 3. And then Wax On is just a straight 5 block. Bring these in against your Assassin matchups, as all their cards are free, and bring this in versus, your other breakpoint matchups. Pretty similar. Against aggro, you're going to want to bring in these Diriacs. We are playing 3 copies of Enlightened Strike. These are for some of your more disruptive matchups, since Enlightened Strike can easily just be a 2-card 7 or a 2-card Arsenal setup. It's just really powerful versus those disruptive decks. Anything that's going to actually play and disrupt you, something like Azalea, which will probably become more dominant with this new set and this new format. Maybe Guardian, I would consider it. Someone like Victor, who can actually kind of disrupt you with these crush effects that go very tall because of the Clash wins, and he gets a lot of cards. Mainly Guardian in general, I'd say. Maybe against Bravo, even though Bravo has a little more disruption, you probably don't need the Enlightened Strike. I would probably still play it in that matchup in case you do, but you're not going to see Bravo as much, and a lot of times you can just kill them just with raw damage because their disruption is very, very expensive. CNC, just because it's a popper and a disruptive piece, you can bring this in versus your Azalea matchup as a way to disrupt their arsenal, and you can bring this in versus, again, your slower matchups because very, very potent card. Don't bring this in against most Assassins. Or just Assassin in general. You don't really want to clear up their arsenal for Codex, and they can easily block it. But any other slow matchup, CNC is pretty good against. 2 Razor Reflex and 1 Mugenshi Release. These are for your also late game matchups. Any matchup that's going to maybe try to fatigue you, because Katsu is a little susceptible to fatigue if you never let him get a full combo turn. The Razor Reflex is just let you go over, actually get your combos off, and then the 3rd Mugenshi Release is really powerful as just another card you can draw later as you have more copies to get to your out of Lord of Winds and a bunch of cards back. Because against a fatigue matchup, if you get this huge Lord of Winds off, they just can never recover from it. So we're on that 3rd Mugenshi Release for that. And then we're on 2 copies of Tenacity, which are very good for those high blocking matchups, as it can be a way to have them block with everything, and then we just go, okay, land 1 attack at the end of my chain, fetch a Tenacity, play it for like 8, and just do a ton of damage to our opponent on a turn they block with their whole hand. I could see a reason for this to be Salt the Wound in the upcoming format. It really just depends on the meta. You can play 1 Salt, 1 Tenacity if you want. I think 2 Tenacity is the good number, because I think Salt right now isn't the better one, but because the aggro deck can just, like, this aggro plan can just kill you. Salt doesn't have combo, but I could see in the future wanting to play Salt, or someone wanting to play Salt if their meta was a lot different than what I am playing in. But for that is going to be the video. I'm super excited to play this new format. In fact, the ban list, I believe, goes into effect today on Tuesday at time of recording. So hopefully, if you are a Katsu player, you're excited for Bonds of Ancestry to be back. But that is going to be it for the video. With all of that, I hope you enjoyed, and I will see you in the next video. Hopefully we have the whole set by then. I think world premiere is this weekend, so hopefully by next week we can do these set reviews. But with all of that, again, thank you all for watching the video. If you made it this far, I truly appreciate it. I will see you all in the next video. Goodbye.